Hey guys, I hope you're well. I'm feeling absolutely exhausted this last couple of days. So just bear with me. I may do this video in parts depending on how I go. I did get this download yesterday and decided not to post it and to redo it because I didn't want the message to get lost in translation. The download I received has a few different layers to it. Now, I woke up yesterday morning and the words that left my mouth was, "I'm not afraid anymore." And I kept seeing Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone, and I do not like that movie whatsoever. So I kind of had to look up and see what the movie summary was about. So I'll pop that in the comments section so you can have a read for yourself. But with that came several downloads. The first part was overcoming and healing an abandonment wound. Facing the fear of being overlooked, being undervalued, and being pushed aside by various people in your life. It was for somebody who kind of blended in the background, someone who learnt to keep the peace and sort of go unnoticed a lot of the time, or had to fight to be heard. But this goes a little deeper. I was picking up an energy of almost like ADHD traits. Someone who started a lot of things and didn't finish it. And for the longest time, they had this self-sabotage tendency where it almost showed up like a subconscious fear of success, a fear of being seen completely. And this wound, it was solidified from childhood. Every time you would stand in your authenticity, every time you would speak your truth and stand in your power, it's like you kind of had to learn to dilute yourself a little bit to make people around you feel more comfortable. When you would stand in your light, say you had a specific talent or magnetism about you, you could almost feel the projection of other people's fears, their insecurities, their jealousy, their envy, their shadows that your light triggered within them. And what it actually did was it taught you to silence yourself a little, to dim your light in order to feel like you weren't almost showing off in a way, which you weren't. You were being yourself, and other people that hadn't learned to or weren't happy within themselves It made them uncomfortable. But it goes even deeper than that, because this was all purposeful. You had this wound not only projected onto you in this lifetime, but you had to have that experience. You had to be pushed aside and shunned and be overlooked and devalued so that you could learn your own worth, so that your fears that came to the surface, whether projected or not, that they could be healed so that you could step into your true power that you held all along. But every time somebody dimmed your light a little, it was waking up this ancestral trauma that you carried from lifetimes before. You were placed under a divine protection, so some of these people couldn't see you even if they wanted to. They hadn't yet met themselves at the level that they needed to have the capacity and the depth to see you completely, to hold your frequency and your light. They were out of alignment in a sense. And this happened in order for your soul to evolve, in order for you to break that generational trauma pattern, but not only just a generational trauma pattern, but an ancestral wound that was placed upon you, called the witch's wound. Now, if you think back to the times of the witches where their lives were taken for standing in their power, for being gifted, for standing out against the crowd, it all kind of makes sense. Logically, in your mind, you're not afraid. You know who you are. You learnt the lessons, but yet something subconsciously keeps holding you back from completely stepping in to your power, from reaching all your goals, from standing in your full potential. Because your soul remembers a time where you did, where you were ostracized for doing so, where people were uncomfortable and they feared what they didn't know. And you carried this through lifetimes. And in this lifetime, you chose a soul contract where you would break free, not only for you, but your whole ancestral lineage. And you did it. And you're not afraid anymore. You no longer care whether people see you, hear you, value you, or whether standing in your truth irritates their demons. You've adopted a let them theory. It's not my problem. You learnt to choose yourself in order for them to learn to do the same. You stop carrying the burdens of other people. You learnt to stand alone proudly. You learnt boundaries. You stepped into your true authenticity and your power, and you stopped being afraid of how other people responded to that. You lost people along the way, and you learned to find yourself in the process. And now that veil is lifted, now have stepped completely into your wholeness, into your sovereignty, into your true authenticity, unapologetically. God has lifted the veils. Before, you were hidden in plain sight, and it was partly divine protection, but it was also that ancestral wound that was playing out. You were protecting yourself. It was almost like a self-inflicted veil, but now you are free. And God, the universe, your ancestors, your guides, they're watching, and they're about to place you into the center of your life on your highest timeline, standing in all your glory, in all of who you are, who you've become, and who you've always been, with your light shining bright for everyone to see. Even the people who couldn't see you before, even the people who misunderstood you, they're about to get a wake-up call. It's almost like God does not play about you. The things that you brought into other people's lives, you're the one person that they will never forget. God is sending them constant reminders. They're having to face their own fears. They're going to face themselves. And that is why some of these people are falling away. They've gone silent. They're probably watching from the sidelines. Some way, somehow, they're asking about you. They're thinking about you. They're pulling on your energy. Well, trying to, because they're still at a frequency that cannot reach your light, but they want to. They are starting to reflect on how you showed up. They're being met with people who match their energy or their past energy, the way that they did or didn't show up for you correctly. So you're about to be seen. You're about to really excel into your higher self. And God, the universe, your guides, your ancestors, they're watching in awe while you shine. And your ancestors in particular are so proud of you, and you should be really proud of yourself too. You haven't been forgotten at all. And those who couldn't see you before, they're not going to be able to look away, no matter how hard they try. They're having to face themselves the same way you did. And they're going to see things a little bit differently. They're going to notice all the grace you gave, all the kindness, and in all the ways that you showed up for them that they couldn't even show up for themselves. And if they had to walk a mile in your shoes, they wouldn't have done it with so much grace. So well done. You should be so super proud of yourself, because I am.